everyone, this is Tracey Jones and I am here today in the very special office of Indigo Jones, also known as Boxcar Indy. Isn't it a beautiful space with all kind of awards and artwork from best-smelling author Indigo Jones? And Indigo Jones wanted to invite you into his space today because he heard it was Financial Literacy Month. And Indigo Jones wrote an incredible book that was sponsored by 4 of our wonderful local credit unions. And you may be thinking, Tracey, did Boxcar Indy really write this book? Well, I have proof. Are you ready? He autographed it. Right, Indy? You tell him how you wrote it. Now, the question is, can Boxcar Indy make it to Doggy World before the summer ends? Boxcar Indy wants to take his family to Doggy World, but a trip to Doggy World costs $1,000. He needs $1,000 to get the money before the summer is over. Can he make it? Let's find out. Are you ready? Are you ready, Indy? Huh? Are you ready? He says he's ready. Okay, here we go. Boxcar Indy goes to Doggy World. Boxcar Indy was a puppy with a funny square shape. He lived in a big house with 2 other dogs named Mr. Blue and Ruby, and the bookstore lady who took care of them all. I wish we could take a trip to Doggy World, thought Indy. I want my whole family to ride the rides and see the giant castle. Indy ran to tell Ruby his idea. A trip to Doggy World costs a lot of money, said Ruby. You'll have to help pay for it. I'll make you a promise. If you can earn 1,000 doggy dollars by the end of the summer, we can go to Doggy World. There were only 3 weeks before the summer was over. Indy emptied his doggy piggy bank. He had $80. The bookstore lady gave him $5 every week for allowance. She told Indy that this money was his allowance and that he could do anything he wanted with it. If he saved all of his allowance for 3 weeks, he would have $15. If he added that to the $80 in his doggy bank, he would have $95. How will I ever make $1,000? asked Indy. Ruby smiled. I know someone who can help you, she said. Get your doggy bank and come with me. So Indy had $80 plus $15, and that equals $95. Here's the question. Indy needs $1,000, and there are only 3 weeks left. How much more money does Indy need? Ruby took Indy to a place he had never been before. This is the credit union, said Ruby. And look who's here. It's Mr. Blue. Hello, Indy, said Mr. Blue. Welcome to the credit union. This is where I work. At the credit union, we help people do things with money. I need 1,000 doggy dollars so I can go to Doggy World, said Indy. I only have $95. How can I get more? First, you should deposit your money in the credit union, said Mr. Blue. But I want to keep my money at home, said Indy. I don't want to give it to the credit union. Your money will be safe at the credit union, said Mr. Blue. When you open an account, you can add money or take it out anytime you like. It will always be here when you need it, and you will always know how much money you have. Lots of people keep their money in a credit union, and if they need more, we can loan them some back, and then they can pay it back a little bit at a time. That's how your neighbor bought his house and how the bookstore lady bought her bookstore. The money you deposit in a credit union helps the entire town, and the best part is the credit union even pays you a little bit for your help. We call that money interest. Indy decided to join the credit union. Now he had his very own account. Indy, would you like to come up? Indy, do you want to come back up? Hold on, kids. Come. Whoa! Way to go. Okay, are you ready? They're so excited. They want to know what happens next. Okay. Now can I borrow money like the bookstore lady did? said Indy. Now we can go to Doggy World. That's true, said Mr. Blue, but you would have to pay that money back to the credit union after you come back from Doggy World. You would have to work to earn that money. Another way to get the money you need is to work for it right now. That way you get the money first and you don't have to pay us back. Whichever way you choose, you will have to work to earn money. Indy thought about his choices. He could work now to make the money he needed, or he could borrow the money and work for it when he gets back. What should Indy do? Indy should... Indy was thinking about this the next day when he and his friend Benny saw their neighbor, Mr. Mud, working hard to plant flowers in his garden. I'll never get all these flowers planted, said Mr. Mud. There are too many of them and I'm too old to dig holes all day. We can help you, said Indy. We're good at digging holes. Mr. Mud smiled. That would be a big help. I have to plant 200 flowers and I'll pay you $2 for every hole you dig. Benny shook his head. I don't want to dig holes, he said. I want to go play. Benny ran off to the park to play, but Indy stayed behind. He had a job. He spent 2 weeks digging 200 holes. Mr. Mud paid him $2 for every hole he dug. Indy made $400. Indy thought to himself, if I keep working, I won't have to borrow any money. I think I'll work for my money now instead of borrowing it. So Indy had $95 from before, and he just earned $400. So together, Indy had $495. But Indy needs how much? $1,000. There's only 1 week left. How much more money does Indy need? Now, Indy had an allowance, he had a job, and he had an account at the credit union. But he still needed $505, and there was only 1 week left. Indy went to the kitchen where Ruby was baking dog biscuits. How can I make more money? Asked Indy. I still need to make $505 to go to Doggy World. Mr. Mud is done digging holes, and my allowance won't be enough. You could start a business to make money, said Ruby. With your own business, you can make as much money as you like, as long as you're willing to work. But what could I do? Asked Indy. Ruby's dog biscuits smelled wonderful. He had an idea. Ruby, will you show me how to make dog biscuits? I can make dog biscuits and sell them in town. Ruby showed Indy how to make her special recipe, and he spent the day baking 250 dog biscuits, right? And here's Miss Ruby. So then what happened, Indy? So the next week, Indy sold his dog biscuits for $2 each in front of the bookstore. Your dog biscuits are the best I've ever tasted, said Mrs. Greyhound. I'll buy 10 biscuits for my whole family. Before long, the whole town was talking about Indy's dog biscuits. In 1 week, he'd sold every dog biscuit he had. Indy sold 250 dog biscuits at $2 each. He made $500. So Indy earned $500 and he had $495. So the grand total that Indy had was $995. But Indy needed $1,000 and time was up. How much more money does Indy need to go to Doggy World? Okay, Indy was on his way to the credit union to deposit his money when Benny came down the street. Look at the new balls I bought, said Benny. They're the new Super Slobber balls with double bounce action. They're only $25 each, and I bought one in every single color. Indy wanted some Super Slobber balls of his own. He imagined all the fun he could have playing with them in the park with the other dogs. But when he thought of the money he needed to save for Doggy World, if he bought the super slobber balls in every color, he wouldn't have enough money to go to Doggy World. "Those look like fun, Benny," said Indy, "but I'm saving my money for a trip to Doggy World." "That takes too long," said Benny. "I'm going to have fun with my super slobber balls right now." Indy was a little sad because he didn't have his own super slobber balls, but he knew a trip to Doggy World was worth saving for. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay, Indy thought of all the ways he had made money. His allowance from the bookstore lady, working for Mr. Mudd, starting a business to sell dog biscuits. He almost had enough money for his trip to Doggy World. He only needed $5 more, but he was out of time. Indy gave his money to Mr. Blue to put into his account. "You made a lot of money, Indy," said Mr. Blue. "Why do you look so sad?" "I didn't make enough money to go to Doggy World," said Indy. "I'm out of time and I still need $5. "Well, I have some good news," said Mr. Blue. "Since you deposited your money in the credit union, you made $5 in interest." This was the best news Indy heard all summer. He was going to Doggy World after all. $5 plus $95 equals, yay, $1,000. Indy's going to Doggy World. "Hey, Indy, you're going to Doggy World. You're going to Doggy World. You're going to Doggy World. Come on, show him. Yay, yay." He's so excited. And there Indy went to Doggy World, okay? So let me show you something. Indy got to go to the castle. So did Miss Tracey. Miss Tracey got to go to the castle, okay? So here we go. We went to Doggy World and we got to see the doggy castle. Indy, come here. Show them your hat. Oh, isn't that fun? Oh, Indy. Okay, so Indy went to Doggy World. Everyone was happy to see Indy when he got back. They all wanted to hear all the stories about the rides and the parades and the famous canine castle. Everyone was happy except Benny. "I want to go to Doggy World," he said sadly. "You can," said Indy, "but you have to work hard and you have to save money. You have to work when you feel like playing, and you have to save money when you'd rather be buying super slobber balls. If you're ready to do that, I can help you." "I can do that," said Benny. "Let's start right now." And that's just what they did. The end. Excellent. Well, listen, I hope you guys enjoyed that story about Doggy World. And kids, you know what? Summer vacation's coming up. And I and Indigo want you to promise to think of something that you want to save your money for. Something that at the end of the summer, something very special for you and your family or your friends. And I want you to earn as many doggy dollars as you can so that you can go to Doggy World too. And again, I want to thank the credit unions for sponsoring this and teaching us that as our piggy bank grows, so does our savings bank and our 401ks. So kids, keep up the tremendous work. Come visit us. We're in Enola, Pennsylvania, and Boxcar Indy and I, we want to say a very special thanks to everybody. Indy, you want to say goodbye to everybody? Indy, come here. Let's say goodbye. One last goodbye. Okay. Okay, Indy, how's that? Bye, everybody. See you in Doggy World.